Owning a football team feels like the ultimate symbol of success. Packed stadiums, billion-dollar TV deals, and championship celebrations make it look like an investment that prints money. But here's the myth almost everyone believes. Winning games doesn't always mean making profits. In fact, some of the world's most valuable clubs have struggled financially despite selling out every match. Today, you're stepping into the owner's seat to uncover the real economics of owning a football team, from massive revenues to hidden costs that fans never see. If you could own any sports team, which one would you choose? Let's say someone hands you the opportunity of a lifetime. A professional football team is up for sale, and somehow you have the money to buy it. The headlines would be everywhere, fans would celebrate, the media would analyze every move you make. For a moment, it would feel like you've reached the top. Before you picture yourself lifting trophies, there's one question you have to answer. How much does a football team actually cost? The answer depends on which team you're buying. A small club in a lower division might sell for a few $1,000,000. Move into a top domestic league, and the price quickly jumps into the hundreds of millions. Buy one of the world's biggest football clubs, and you're no longer talking about millions. You're talking about billions. At first, that price sounds impossible to justify. After all, it's just a team that plays 1 or 2 matches each week. That's the myth. You're not buying 11 players and a stadium. You're buying a global entertainment business. The club's name has value, its history has value, its logo has value, its fan base has value. Every championship won over decades becomes part of the brand you're purchasing. 2 teams with similar performances, for this reason, can have completely different values. One may have millions of supporters around the world, while the other has only a local following. Those loyal fans become one of your greatest assets because they keep spending money year after year. Buying the club is only the beginning. The purchase itself often requires financing. Even billionaires don't always pay the full amount from their own pocket. Some use loans, others bring in investment groups. Some create ownership partnerships that spread both the risk and the reward. Financial responsibilities begin the day the deal closes. Player contracts don't pause because ownership changes. Coaches still expect their salaries. Stadium employees continue showing up for work. Office staff, marketing teams, medical departments, scouts, youth academy coaches, and security personnel all expect to be paid on time. Facilities come next on the list. Training grounds require constant maintenance. Stadiums need repairs throughout the year. Grass has to be replaced. Seats break. Scoreboards fail. Floodlights consume enormous amounts of electricity. Locker rooms need upgrades. Every part of the property slowly wears down with every season. None of that, notably, depends on whether your team wins or loses. Something many new owners underestimate shows up next: league rules. Professional football isn't a business where you can simply spend whatever you want. Many leagues enforce financial regulations designed to keep competition fair. Overspending can lead to heavy penalties, restrictions on signing players, or even points deductions. Suddenly, owning a football club becomes much more than writing checks. You're managing one of the most regulated businesses in sports. Consider the transfer market next. Imagine discovering an incredible young player. Every fan wants you to sign him. The media demands action. Your rivals are interested too. The transfer fee alone could reach tens of millions of dollars. On top of that comes the player's salary, signing bonuses, agent commissions, and performance bonuses. Before the player even steps onto the field, you've committed an enormous amount of money. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A single injury can completely change that investment. A player expected to become the next superstar could miss an entire season. Yet you're still responsible for honoring the contract. That's a level of financial risk most businesses never face. By now, it's becoming clear that owning a football team isn't like owning a restaurant or a shopping mall. It's part real estate, part media company, part marketing brand, part talent management business, part entertainment empire. Every decision affects millions of fans, attracts endless media attention, and carries financial consequences that can last for years. So after spending billions to buy the club, hiring hundreds of employees, maintaining world-class facilities, and building a competitive squad, you're finally ready for opening day. The stadium fills with supporters wearing your team's colors. Television cameras begin broadcasting to millions of homes. Sponsors proudly display their logos across the pitch. The atmosphere is electric, and from the outside it looks like money is flowing in from every direction. It certainly feels like you've bought one of the most profitable businesses in the world, but appearances can be deceiving, because the real question isn't how much a football team costs to buy. It's how a football team actually makes money once you own it. The moment the referee blows the opening whistle, money starts moving in every direction. More than 60,000 fans fill the stadium. Thousands more are waiting outside. Millions are watching from their homes across the world. From where you're sitting in the owner's box, it looks like every cheer, every goal, and every ticket sold is making you richer. Here's the reality though. A football team doesn't make most of its money from winning matches. It makes money from building an ecosystem around the game. Ticket sales are the most obvious source of income, but they're only one piece of the puzzle. Every supporter who walks through the stadium gates has already contributed to your business. They've bought a match ticket, paid for parking, purchased food and drinks, or picked up a new jersey before finding their seat. Individually, those purchases seem small. Together, they generate millions over an entire season. Ticket sales alone still aren't enough to support a modern football club. That's where broadcasting changes everything. Television companies spend billions of dollars for the right to show football matches because they know millions of people will tune in every week. Those broadcasting agreements are shared among clubs, although not always equally. Teams that play in larger leagues or qualify for international competitions often receive significantly bigger payments. One successful season can dramatically increase your television income. One disappointing season can reduce it just as quickly. Sponsorships come next. Look at almost any professional football team, and you'll notice logos everywhere. Across the front of the jersey, on the sleeves, around the stadium, behind every post-match interview. Even the training kit often has a different sponsor. Those companies aren't simply buying advertising space. They're buying access to one of the most loyal audiences in sports. A fan who wears your team's jersey every weekend becomes a walking advertisement without even realizing it. That's why global brands are willing to pay large sums to associate themselves with successful clubs. Merchandise creates another powerful revenue stream. Every new jersey launch becomes an event. Scarves, hats, jackets, training gear, backpacks, mugs, footballs, phone cases, and countless other products carry your club's logo. Supporters don't just buy them because they need them. They buy them because they feel connected to the club. That emotional connection is remarkably valuable. A loyal fan may continue buying merchandise for decades, passing that loyalty from one generation to the next. Player trading is something many people never consider. At first, it sounds strange. How can buying players make you money? Imagine signing an 18-year-old prospect for $10 million. Over the next 4 years, he develops into one of the league's best players. Bigger clubs begin competing for his signature, and suddenly someone offers $9 million to buy him. You've just created an $80 million gain before considering wages and development costs. For some clubs, developing and selling young talent becomes one of the most profitable parts of the entire business. It's almost like investing in promising startups. Some succeed beyond expectations. Others never reach their potential. Every transfer carries both opportunity and risk. Your academy works the same way. Instead of buying every future star, you invest in young players years before they're ready for professional football. Coaching, education, medical care, housing, and training all require significant investment. Most academy players will never play for the first team. But if even one becomes a world-class star, the return can be extraordinary. By now, you're beginning to see something fascinating. You're no longer running just a sports team. You're managing a global entertainment brand, a media company, a retail business, a real estate operation, and a talent development system, all at the same time. That's what makes football one of the most complex industries in the world. If you're enjoying uncovering the hidden economics behind businesses that most people never think about, consider subscribing. Every week, we step inside another billion-dollar industry to discover how it really works beyond the headlines. Looking at your financial reports, everything appears healthy. Broadcast revenue is arriving. Sponsors are renewing their contracts. Merchandise sales are climbing. Ticket demand remains strong. Player values continue increasing. It almost feels like you've discovered the perfect business, until the payroll arrives. And that's the moment many football club owners realize why even the biggest teams in the world can struggle to make a profit. The payroll lands on your desk. It's easily the largest expense your club faces, and it arrives whether your team wins the championship or finishes at the bottom of the table. Here's the twist most fans never see. A sold-out stadium doesn't guarantee you're making money. In fact, some clubs lose millions during seasons when attendance is at its highest. Why? Because players don't come cheap. The world's biggest stars earn salaries that most people can't imagine. Top players can make hundreds of thousands of dollars every single week. That's before bonuses, image rights, loyalty payments, and performance incentives are added to their contracts. Multiply that by an entire squad, and the coaching staff alone adds another layer. Assistant coaches, fitness trainers, goalkeeping coaches, medical specialists, nutritionists, video analysts, psychologists, scouts. Youth academy staff, marketing teams, finance departments, security personnel, groundskeepers, ticket office employees, hospitality workers. The list goes on. Suddenly, you're not paying 11 football players. You're supporting an organization with hundreds of employees, all working toward one goal. And salaries are only the beginning. Your stadium is another financial giant. On match day, everything has to work perfectly. Floodlights illuminate the pitch for hours. Giant screens replay every goal. Thousands of security cameras monitor the crowd. Cleaning crews prepare the stadium before kickoff and stay long after the final whistle. Utilities, maintenance, insurance, and repairs quietly consume millions every year. Even when nobody is watching football, the stadium still costs money to operate. Travel expenses add yet another category. League matches might only require a short trip across the country, but international competitions are another story. Private flights, luxury hotels, training facilities, equipment transportation, security arrangements, meals, recovery centers. Every away match becomes a carefully planned operation that costs far more than fans ever realize, and the transfer market cuts both ways. Earlier you saw how buying and selling players could create huge profits, but it can also create enormous losses. Imagine paying $80 million for a striker expected to become your next superstar. The supporters celebrate, the media praises the signing, shirt sales explode overnight, everything looks perfect. 3 months later, the player suffers a serious injury. Instead of scoring goals, he's spending months in rehabilitation. You're still paying his full salary. You're still responsible for the transfer fee. You're still expected to compete without him. One injury can completely change your financial plans for the season, a risk unique to professional sports. Perhaps the biggest expense isn't found on any invoice though, it's failure. Misqualification for an international tournament, and you could lose tens of millions in broadcasting and prize money, get relegated to a lower division, and television revenue may collapse almost overnight. Sponsors begin renegotiating contracts. Attendance drops. Merchandise sales slow down. Players may demand transfers. Some contracts even include wage reductions or release clauses if the club is relegated. One bad season can trigger years of financial consequences. Owners, as a result, often face impossible decisions. Do you spend heavily to improve the squad and chase success? Or do you stay financially cautious and risk falling behind your competitors? Neither option guarantees victory. Football has a way of punishing certainty. Here's something even more surprising. Some of the most valuable football clubs on earth don't produce large annual profits. At first, that sounds unbelievable. How can a business worth billions make relatively little profit? Many owners intentionally reinvest their earnings. Instead of taking money out of the club, they build a new training complex, expand the stadium, upgrade the academy, sign better players, improve technology, modernize medical facilities, and increase the club's global reach. They're sacrificing today's profit to increase tomorrow's value. In many ways, owning a football club is like owning a fast-growing technology company. The real wealth isn't always in yearly income, it's in the value of the asset itself. Over the past few decades, many famous clubs have increased dramatically in value, even during years when their financial statements looked far less impressive. Football, simply put, isn't powered by spreadsheets alone. It's powered by emotion. Fans remain loyal through victories and defeats. Generations pass their support from parents to children. Sponsors pay for that loyalty. Broadcasters pay for that passion, investors pay for that global influence, and that's something almost impossible to measure with simple numbers. So after buying the club, managing hundreds of employees, negotiating million-dollar contracts, surviving injuries, handling constant pressure, and balancing one of the most complicated budgets in sports, you're left with one final question. Is owning a football team actually worth it? Or is the dream far more valuable than the profit? So, after everything you've experienced, would you still buy a football team? At the beginning of this journey, it probably sounded like the easiest decision in the world. Billion-dollar television deals, packed stadiums, superstar players, millions of passionate supporters. From the outside, it looked like the perfect business. Now you know the full picture. Owning a football club isn't simply about watching matches from a luxury suite every weekend. It's about making hundreds of difficult decisions long before the first whistle is blown. Risk lives in every layer of the business. Every contract you sign carries risk. Every transfer can change your future. Every season feels like starting a brand new business all over again. Football, for this reason, is one of the few industries where financial success and competitive success don't always move together. You can build a profitable club that rarely wins trophies. You can also win championships while losing money. Finding the balance between those two goals is what separates great owners from everyone else. The best owners understand something many people don't. They're not trying to win one season. They're trying to build something that lasts for generations. Look at the clubs that have remained successful for decades. Very few achieve that success by spending recklessly. Instead, they built strong youth academies, invested in world-class facilities, hired experienced executives, developed global fan bases, and created business strategies that continued working even when results on the field weren't perfect. That's the difference between running a football club and simply collecting famous players. One approach builds headlines, the other builds an empire. Here's another lesson that surprises many people. Your biggest asset isn't the stadium, it isn't the training ground, it isn't even your most valuable player, it's your supporters. A loyal fan base is something money can't easily buy. Fans continue buying jerseys after disappointing seasons. They renew season tickets year after year. They travel across countries to watch away matches. They introduce their children to the club, creating another generation of supporters. That emotional connection becomes one of the strongest business advantages any sports organization can have. Companies recognize that value immediately. Sponsors don't pay millions because they love football. They pay because they want access to millions of loyal customers who trust the brands connected to their favorite club. Broadcasters think the same way. They're not purchasing 90 minutes of football. They're purchasing attention. Millions of people watching at exactly the same time is remarkably valuable in today's world. That's why broadcasting contracts continue growing despite changing technology. Attention has become one of the world's most valuable resources. But attention can disappear quickly. One ownership scandal, one financial crisis, one season of poor decisions, one broken relationship with supporters. Years of trust can begin disappearing almost overnight. Reputation, for this reason, matters just as much as revenue. The most successful owners protect both. Looking back, the biggest misconception about football becomes obvious. Most people believe clubs exist to make money from football. In reality, football gives clubs the opportunity to build an incredibly powerful global business. The matches create excitement. The excitement creates loyalty. The loyalty attracts sponsors. Sponsors increase revenue. Revenue allows better investment. Better investment creates stronger teams. Stronger teams generate even greater excitement. It's a cycle that never truly stops. When managed correctly, each part strengthens the next. Owning a football club in this way is unlike almost any other investment. You're responsible for a business, a brand, a community, a tradition. And for millions of supporters, you're also protecting a piece of their identity. That's an incredible responsibility. Is it worth it financially? For the right owner with the right strategy, absolutely. Will it make you rich overnight? Almost certainly not. The greatest returns usually come from patience, smart leadership, disciplined spending, and understanding that success is measured over decades, not seasons. Because at the end of the day, you're not just buying a football team. You're buying history. You're buying hope. You're buying millions of dreams that come alive every match day. And that's something no balance sheet can fully measure. Owning a football team is far more than signing players and lifting trophies. It's about balancing passion with smart business decisions every single season. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe for more ownership economics documentaries, and tell me which expensive business or asset you'd like to explore next.